Hello, this is Andrew Davey at Nevada Forward, and we're here with Katherine Lorenzo from Chispa. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for having me.
So first off, what got you interested in environmental justice and working on things like climate change and air quality that many folks assume communities of color don't care about?
The first thing that actually got me really interested in it was when I was in high school. I tried to start a recycling program and I got told that I couldn't do it because we didn't have enough funding. And even from back home, I'm from Dominican Republic, so my grandma would tell me, don't waste the water, because over there the water does run out when the water turns off. And it's something that stayed with me for a really long time. Whenever I'm showering or whatever I'm doing, I'm like, don't waste the water. And it's because we're wasting so much of it. And that's ultimately like the biggest thing that like made it so passionate for me to be involved in this field.
And then how do you counter this stereotype that to an extent is still out there, that environmentalists are all just white hippies in LA and New York City who want to tell everyone else how they're supposed to live their lives?
So the biggest people that you do see are white hippies, but we go straight forward and we let people know, yes, we are Chispa, yes, we're an environmental organization, no, we are not hippies and tree huggers. You have to remind them that they've been doing things in their family, in their homes for generations, like sharing their siblings' clothing, saving the containers of butter, and instead of throwing it away, you use it as a Tupperware instead of having to go to the store and spend extra money, where your parents are constantly yelling at you to turn off the water and like turn off the light because you don't pay bills around the house. Well, that's something that you've been doing that has actually been contributing to help fight climate change in our community. So you have to link it and remind people why it is that they're doing something to help out.
That's an interesting point, that many of the things that we were taught as children, later on we learn these actually are important life lessons, as they help us learn how to be more environmentally responsible.
Yeah, definitely, and it's something that you have to start. I like doing presentations in schools because I like to start with the younger generation. I know that if you put your little grain of sand with them, they're going to be the ones that make the biggest difference in their community.
Since we're now talking about education and schools, I understand you're currently working on the Clean Buses, Healthy Niños campaign. What's that about?
Yeah, we have our new campaign. It's called Clean Buses for Healthy Niños. And what we're looking to do is change our diesel school buses to completely electric. Our diesel school buses that we have right now are polluting. And kids that are breathing in that carbon monoxide are exposed to toxins that can lead them to develop asthma and respiratory problems because their lungs and respiratory systems are still developing. So we want to use actually the funds from the Volkswagen settlement, which is roughly $24.8 million, for the kids in our community because they are the ones that are the most vulnerable.
Now, I understand that there are multiple projects being considered for the VW settlement money that the state of Nevada is getting. Why should Governor Sandoval select Clean Buses, Healthy Niños, select changing out these old school buses?
Because diesel buses are the biggest pollutant that we have. Diesel buses release particulate pollution, which is the biggest contaminant that we have. Like I was telling you earlier that we were graded in our air quality by the American Lung Association and we failed. And the biggest one that they found in there was that particulate pollution released by our diesel buses. So if we have kids that are going to schools, that are riding these school buses, that are getting dropped off in their neighborhoods, breathing this in, they're the most vulnerable. So we have to take into consideration the kids in our community and even ourselves in our neighborhoods. If we live by a school, it shouldn't mean that we get asthma or respiratory problems just because we live in that area. We need to use that money for the people who are the most vulnerable, and it needs to stay in Las Vegas, in Clark County, in Nevada.
And finally, what's your message for your fellow Nevadans, particularly communities of color, as they ask, You know, why should we care about the environment? Why should we care about school buses? Why should we care about climate change?
My biggest message is to remember that the issue of climate change and climate justice intersects with all the other issues that we care about, whether it's immigration, education, or healthcare. All of these issues intersect because ultimately, if you're not taking care of the planet and you're not taking care of the air that you're breathing, you're going to end up getting sicker. So that's a healthcare issue. You don't get the right education because you're missing out on school. You don't decide on whether you're going to live in a good area or a bad area because you don't have a stable income. So keep in mind that you have another issue that you need to care about, and that's the issue of climate change and climate justice in our community.